You are not being overlooked. You are being outplayed, and you don't even realize it yet. The system is not broken. It is selecting against you. You stay late, write the code, and keep the operation from collapsing. You solve problems no one else can even see. Yet, when the promotion cycle arrives, it goes to the person analyzing office gossip by the coffee machine. You watch this happen over and over again. You tell yourself the system must be flawed, that corporate life is a meritless scam, that management is blind, disconnected, incompetent. But here is the truth that hurts more than all of that. The corporate hardware is functioning exactly as intended. You are not failing inside the system. You are measuring performance in a system that rewards perception over production. You were trained to believe that output is everything, that if you produce more, think deeper, and execute better, the system will recognize you. That is true in engineering. That is true in physics. But this is not a closed system governed by objective laws. This is a social architecture. And in social systems, visibility beats value unless value is strategically exposed. Your system is not malfunctioning. It has been infected by a highly sophisticated piece of malware. And the most dangerous part is not that this malware exists. The danger is that your company's antivirus, the executives, the managers, HR, do not recognize it as a threat. They read this person as safe, aligned, even valuable. To them, it is not malware. It is a trusted system file. Let's deconstruct how these untouchable operators actually function. Phase 1 is camouflage. In cybersecurity, successful malware does not crash the system immediately. That would trigger alarms. Instead, it blends in. It mimics legitimate processes. It operates quietly, inside trusted boundaries, avoiding detection at all costs. In the office, camouflage looks like alignment. They mirror the language of leadership. They repeat the director's ideas with slightly different wording. They nod at the right moments. They laugh at the right jokes. They do not challenge the system. They reflect it. Management does not see a risk. They see themselves. You do the heavy lifting. You build the strategy. You solve the technical bottlenecks. They do not write the reports, but they are always the first to summarize them in the meeting. They do not generate the ideas, but they are always positioned next to the person who approves them. And over time, perception starts to drift. The system begins to associate output with visibility, not origin. If you complain about this, the system does not validate you. It flags you. Your frustration is logged as a behavioral anomaly. You become difficult, not a team player. Too focused on details. Meanwhile, the malware continues to operate undetected, quietly consuming bandwidth and building trust. This brings us to their second method, privilege escalation. In a network, this is when a low-level user gains access to higher-level permissions without actually earning them through capability. In your office, this is not done through code. It is done through positioning. They know they cannot compete with your raw output, so they change the game entirely. They stop competing on execution and start competing on access. Access to conversations, access to decision makers, access to information flows. They insert themselves between layers of the organization. You send the report, they review it. They add a few comments that change nothing. The next morning, your work is presented, in their voice, as their idea. Not because they built it, but because they controlled the channel through which it traveled. They position themselves exactly between the people who do the work and the people who sign the checks. They become the interface, the translator, the coordinator, the bridge. And once they control the bridge, they control the narrative. They have successfully hijacked the telemetry of the organization. When a project succeeds, they frame it as something they orchestrated. When a project fails, they redirect the blame to execution, which means to you. Over time, they are seen as strategic, while you are seen as operational. And in corporate hierarchies, strategy gets promoted. operations gets replaced. But visibility alone is not enough to guarantee long-term survival. Eventually, any system that runs long enough triggers an audit. Someone, somewhere starts asking questions. What does this person actually do? What do they own? What happens if they leave? This is where the malware executes its final protocol, establishing root access. They find one obscure critical dependency in the system and they take full control of it. Not the obvious things, not the visible projects. Something hidden, fragile, and essential. It might be a legacy database no one understands anymore. It might be a high-maintenance client that only responds to them. It might be a vendor relationship, an internal tool, or a reporting pipeline that was built years ago and never documented. They find it, they own it, and then they lock it down. They do not document their workflow. They do not train replacements. They do not simplify the process. They make it deliberately complex. Because complexity creates dependency, and dependency creates protection. They are no longer in the system. The system is now built around them. Removing them is no longer a simple decision. It becomes a risk calculation. And most organizations, by design, avoid short-term risk, even if it creates long-term inefficiency. So the decision is made, quietly, subconsciously. It is easier to tolerate the inefficiency than to disrupt the dependency. The malware is no longer a threat. It is now a permanent, accepted feature of the architecture. Now, here is the part no one tells you. They do not ignore you. They actively track you. Because you are not a victim. You are raw processing power. And raw power without strategic control is dangerous to them. Every time you solve a problem faster than expected, you expose inefficiency. Every time you produce clear, measurable results, you disrupt ambiguity. Every time you operate with precision, you create contrast, and contrast is what reveals them. You are the system scan they cannot disable. You are the spotlight in a room where their survival depends on shadows. And because they cannot outwork you, they shift to the only strategy available to them: containment. They will bury you in low-visibility tasks, maintenance work, firefighting, endless urgent issues that never get seen by leadership. They will keep you busy, but invisible, productive but isolated, valuable but unrecognized. And they will frame it positively. They will call it trust, reliability, team spirit. We rely on you. What they mean is, you are too important to be seen. They will also shape perception around you. Subtle comments in meetings, small narrative shifts. He's great technically, but she's very focused, not always collaborative. Nothing direct, nothing provable. Just enough to plant doubt. This is not personal. This is defensive behavior. You are a threat to a system that rewards perception over truth. And the system will naturally protect the layer that aligns with its own logic. So how do you deploy a patch for this? Not emotionally, not morally, not by complaining. Complaining to HR is like yelling at a firewall because you do not like its rules. The system is not designed to validate your frustration. It is designed to maintain stability. You don't need to work harder. That is the trap. You need to operate differently. First, implement strict access control. Stop giving the malware free access to your output. Your work should not pass through unnecessary layers. If you build something valuable, make sure it reaches the end user without distortion. Visibility is not arrogance, it is accuracy. Second, force everything into the system logs. Malware thrives in ambiguity, in undocumented conversations, in verbal agreements that can be reinterpreted later. You eliminate this by creating traceability, follow-up meetings with written summaries, confirm responsibilities, document contributions. Not aggressively, precisely. Third, reduce single points of failure, including yourself. Do not allow your value to be hidden inside complexity. If you are the only one who understands something, you are both valuable and vulnerable. Structure your work so it is visible, transferable, and undeniable. Fourth, build your own network. Do not rely on a single channel to be seen. Connect with other teams. Share knowledge horizontally. Solve problems outside your immediate scope. When multiple nodes in the system recognize your value, it becomes much harder to suppress. The corporate world will always have its parasites. This is not a bug. It is an emergent property of complex human systems. You cannot eliminate it completely, and it is not your responsibility to fix it. But you can protect yourself from it. You can recognize the patterns. You can adjust your behavior. You can stop playing a game you were never meant to win, and start playing the one that actually determines outcomes. Understand this clearly. Raw power without strategy gets exploited every single time. It does not matter how intelligent you are, how hard you work, or how much you produce. If your output is not strategically positioned, it will be absorbed by someone who understands the system better than you do. Adjust your security settings. Control your output. Increase your visibility with precision. Stop expecting fairness from a system that optimizes for something else. Stop being useful. Start being undeniable.